The vastness of space seemed peaceful as the Galactic Concorde survey ship glided through the star system. 7 alien species had built this alliance over thousands of years, bringing order to their corner of the galaxy. The ship's sensors detected the small blue planet, third from its yellow sun. Officer Taz studied the readings with interest. His slender fingers moved across the control panel, gathering data about this newly discovered world called Earth. "Commander Ta called. "You should see this. These humans have only recently reached their neighboring planets, but their technology is advancing at an unusual rate." Commander Dad looked over the data. Her dark eyes narrowed as she considered the implications. "Interesting. They've achieved nuclear power and basic space travel in less than 200 years. Most species take twice that long." The Concorde Protocol was clear. New civilizations were to be approached peacefully, studied, and eventually invited to join the galactic community. Commander Day sent her findings to the Concorde Council, recommending first contact within the next cycle. The Council agreed, but not everyone was pleased with the decision. On the HFY warship dominance, Commander June received the news with contempt. The HFY had always been the military power of the Concorde, and they believed strength determined worth. A primitive species held little value in their eyes. "These humans have resources we could use," Jum told his officers. "Their system contains rare minerals. Why waste time with diplomacy when we could simply take what we need?" His second-in-command, Officer Bin, looked nervous. "The Council has approved peaceful contact. We cannot go against their decision." June smiled coldly. "The Council is far away. If these humans prove dangerous, we would be justified in defending ourselves. Perhaps we should test their capabilities." Without Council approval, June ordered his ships toward the small human colony on Mars. The red planet held only a few thousand settlers, mainly scientists and miners establishing humanity's first permanent outpost beyond Earth. The attack came without warning. HFY warships appeared above the colony's main dome, energy weapons cutting through the thin protective shields. Buildings collapsed. Emergency systems failed. Within minutes, half the colony lay in ruins. "Send the message to their homeworld," June ordered. "Let them know the price of resistance." On Earth, the attack triggered immediate crisis. In the Global Defense Command Center, General Kim watched the Mars distress signals with a face like stone. "We've lost contact with sectors 3 through 7, an officer reported. "Estimated casualties, 312. General Kim turned to his staff. "What do we know about the attackers?" "Nothing, sir. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Our Mars defenses didn't even slow them down." Kim nodded slowly. "Send a message. All frequencies, all languages we can manage. Request dialogue immediately." The message went out. "This is Earth Command to unknown aggressors. We request immediate dialogue before further action becomes necessary." On the Concorde diplomatic vessel, Ambassador Q received reports of the attack with horror. "The HFY have gone too far. This was never authorized." But the damage was done. The Concorde officials misinterpreted the human message, believing it was a plea for mercy rather than a final warning. "They wish to surrender," one analyst concluded. "Their technology cannot possibly match ours." For 3 days, silence hung over the solar system. The HFY ships remained near Mars, watching. The Concorde diplomats argued about how to proceed. And on Earth, a decision was made. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown, even to most governments, the UES Thermopylae powered its engines. The massive battleship had been humanity's secret project for decades, built using technologies most humans didn't know existed. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge, reviewing final preparations. Unlike the sleek, elegant ships of the Concorde, the Thermopylae was built for one purpose: war. Its hull was deceptively ordinary, hiding systems that had never been tested in actual combat. "All stations report ready, Captain," said Lieutenant Gill. "The aliens expect us to beg," Captain Hyun said quietly. "They believe we are weak, Because we asked for peace first. They don't understand humans yet. The Thermopylae rose from the ocean and accelerated toward space, alone against an alien fleet. Its outer hull appeared basic and primitive to alien scanners, showing only standard propulsion and simple weapon systems. As the human ship approached, the Haktari vessels moved to intercept. Commander Jun was amused by the single ship approaching his fleet. They send one vessel. He laughed. Either they're surrendering or they're fools. The Thermopylae transmitted once. This is Captain Hyun of Earth Fleet. Your unprovoked attack on Mars colony constitutes an act of war. We offer one opportunity to withdraw and discuss reparations. Jun ordered immediate attack. 3 destroyers moved forward, energy weapons charging. Show them what real power looks like, he commanded. As bright energy beams struck the human ship, everyone expected it to shatter instantly. Instead, the Thermopylae's hull seemed to absorb the energy completely. For a moment, nothing happened. Then ports opened along the battleship's sides. The aliens were about to learn that humans knew more about war than any species in the galaxy, and they were about to learn it the hard way. The aliens watched in disbelief as their energy weapons struck the human ship and simply vanished. On the bridge of the lead Haktari destroyer, Commander Jun's expression shifted from confidence to confusion. "What happened?" he demanded. "Why isn't their ship damaged?" Officer Bin checked his sensors repeatedly. "Unknown, Commander. Their hull appears to be absorbing our attack completely. This technology isn't in our database." Across the void of space, aboard the UES Thermopylae, Captain Hyun stood calmly as her ship absorbed the alien assault. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency, a stark contrast to the chaos they had witnessed on Mars. "All systems functioning normally," reported Lieutenant Gill. "Shield absorption at 30% capacity. They're hitting us with everything they have, but it's not even close to our limits." Captain Hyun nodded, her face showing no emotion. "Begin targeting sequence. Focus on weapon systems and engines only. I want those ships disabled, not destroyed if possible." On the main view screen, the alien fleet spread out in attack formation. The Haktari, believing their first shots had somehow missed, prepared a second volley of energy weapons. "They're bringing their main cannons online," Jill announced. "Targeting calculations complete, Captain." Hyun took a deep breath. Earth had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. First contact with a potentially hostile alien force. The Thermopylae represented humanity's determination to survive in a universe they had always suspected might be dangerous. "Weapons free," she ordered. "Execute tactical patterns, Sigma." Along the hull of the human battleship, hidden ports slid open to reveal systems no alien scanner had detected. The true nature of the Thermopylae was finally revealed, not the primitive vessel the aliens had assumed, but a marvel of advanced human military science. First came the gravitational lensing artillery, weapons that distorted space itself around their targets. Beams of concentrated energy bent reality as they approached the first Haktari destroyer, creating crushing gravitational forces that tore the alien ship apart from within. The second destroyer launched evasive maneuvers, but the Thermopylae's targeting systems adjusted instantly. A barrage of antimatter torpedoes, small, precise, and devastating, struck the ship's propulsion systems. The alien vessel's engines exploded in a brilliant flash of light, leaving it drifting helplessly. The third destroyer turned to flee, broadcasting frantic warnings to the rest of the fleet. Captain Hyun targeted its communication array with pinpoint accuracy, silencing it before it could relay detailed information about human capabilities. On the Haktari command ship, Commander Jun watched in horror as 3 of his best vessels were neutralized in less than a minute. His confidence evaporated, replaced by a growing fear. "Impossible," he whispered. "Their technology. How could we have missed this?" Officer Bin stared at his sensor readings in disbelief. "Commander, they're using weapons we've never encountered before. The gravitational distortions alone are beyond anything in Concord science." Jun's mind raced. The humans had appeared primitive. Their colonies, their early space exploration, everything had suggested a young species barely reaching beyond their planet. Yet this ship, this single vessel, had just defeated 3 Hectari destroyers without apparent effort. "All ships, hold position," he ordered. "Do not advance. Do not fire unless fired upon." The UES Thermopylae hung in space, its weapons still ready but no longer firing. For several tense minutes, neither side moved. The human ship had made its point without unnecessary destruction. Captain Hyun opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. "This was a demonstration. We disabled 3 of your ships while intentionally minimizing casualties. We could have destroyed your entire fleet, but that is not our purpose here." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Humanity desires peace, but we have prepared for war throughout our history. Your attack on Mars was unprovoked. We demand to speak with your leadership. Not just you, Commander Jun, but the full Concord Council we know exists." On the Concord diplomatic vessel observing from a distance, Ambassador Q and his team watched the encounter with mounting alarm. What they had believed to be a primitive species had just revealed technology that rivaled or exceeded their own. How did they know about the Council? One aide whispered, "We never made contact." Ambassador Q's expression was grim. "It seems these humans have been watching us for longer than we've been watching them, and they've been preparing." He turned to his communications officer. "Send word to the Council immediately. The situation has changed dramatically. And prepare my shuttle. I must speak with these humans directly." Back on the Thermopylae, Captain Hyun received word that additional alien ships were approaching, smaller vessels bearing diplomatic markings. "It appears we have their attention," Lieutenant Gill said with a slight smile. "Good," Captain Hyun replied. "But stay alert. This is only the beginning." She looked at the disabled alien ships on her view screen, thinking of the destruction on Mars. Humanity had evolved through conflict, developing weapons and strategies because they had to survive against themselves. Now that hard history might be their greatest advantage among the stars. "Send a message to Earth," she ordered. "First contact has occurred. Phase 1 complete. Preparing for diplomatic engagement." The Thermopylae's engines hummed quietly as it maintained position, a sentinel of human innovation and determination. The sleeping giant of Earth had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The grand chamber of the Concord Council buzzed with urgent voices. Representatives from all 7 species had gathered for an emergency session. The massive circular room, with its high ceiling and ornate designs, normally hosted careful, measured debates. Today, it echoed with fear and anger. "This is unprecedented," shouted Mach, the Zenthari representative, his scaled skin flushing deep purple with emotion. "One human vessel disabled 3 of our most advanced destroyers." Ambassador Q of the peaceful Elleran species stood calmly at the center of the chamber. "What Commander Jun did was illegal under our own laws. He attacked without provocation. The humans defended themselves." "Defended," hissed Mach. "Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen. They bent gravity itself. How long have they hidden such technology? What else are they hiding?" The council leader, an elderly Perathian named Doc, raised his hand for silence. "We must approach this rationally. Our initial assessment of human technology was clearly flawed, but violence has already occurred. We must prevent further bloodshed." On a large view screen, images from the Mars colony attack played silently. The destruction was methodical and complete. Habitat domes shattered. Life support systems targeted first. Medical facilities destroyed. Intelligence Officer Song stepped forward, her expression solemn. "I have reviewed all communications prior to the attack. There is no evidence the humans threatened the Hectari in any way. In fact, there was no communication at all before Commander Jun ordered the strike." He claimed they were potentially dangerous, Mach argued. "All species are potentially dangerous," replied Q. "That does not justify killing their people." The chamber doors opened unexpectedly. A small group of humans entered, led by Ambassador Jai. The council members fell silent, surprised by their sudden appearance. No one had authorized their entry to the station. "Forgive our unannounced arrival," Ambassador G said, bowing slightly to the council. "We felt direct communication would be best, given the circumstances." "How did you reach this station?" Doc asked, unable to hide his shock. "It's protected by our most advanced security systems." Just smiled politely. "The same way we've been observing your Concorde for the past 30 years. We have technologies that developed along different paths than yours." A murmur swept through the chamber. 30 years of observation. The humans had been watching before the Concorde even discovered Earth. "That's impossible," said Mach. "Our sensors would have detected your vessels." "Not if you weren't looking for what we use," Jai explained. "While your civilizations focused on energy-based propulsion and communications, we explored quantum entanglement and dimensional phasing." He motioned to an assistant who activated a small device. A holographic display appeared, showing footage of Concorde meetings from years earlier. "We've been listening and learning," Jig continued. "We know your laws, your species, your history. We wanted to understand before making contact." "Then why reveal yourselves now?" asked Doc. "We didn't choose this timing," Jai replied, his voice hardening slightly. "Commander June did when he murdered 312 of our people on Mars." He activated another hologram, this one showing children's quarters in the Mars colony. The images that followed were difficult to watch. The Haktari weapons had been merciless, cutting through the thin shelters where families had lived. "Those children posed no threat to anyone," G said quietly, "yet they were specifically targeted. The attack pattern shows the Haktari struck habitation zones first, then medical facilities. This was not a military strike. It was a massacre." The council chamber fell silent. Even Mach looked away from the images. "We come seeking justice," Jig continued, "not vengeance. At least, not yet." "Are you threatening the Concorde?" Mach demanded. "No, we're offering you a choice. Either stand by your own laws and hold Commander Jum accountable, or admit that your Concorde exists only to protect the powerful." Officer Song stepped forward again. "Council members, I have recovered communications from Commander June's vessel. He deliberately disobeyed orders to wait for diplomatic contact. He acted alone." Doc looked troubled. "If this is true, then the Concorde must accept responsibility for his actions. But Ambassador G, your people's response raises concerns. The technology your ship displayed is defensive," G finished for him. "The Thermopylae disabled those ships without destroying them. Captain Hyun specifically targeted weapons and engines to minimize casualties. Had we wanted destruction, nothing would remain of the Haktari fleet. Is that supposed to reassure us?" asked Mach. "It should," Jai replied simply. "Because it means humans value life, even the lives of those who attacked us. But we will not be victims. Not ever." From the back of the chamber, a new voice spoke, an elderly Haktari counselor named Hak, who had remained silent until now. "I have seen this before," he said quietly. "Not with humans, but in our own history. Species that evolve through conflict develop differently than those born in peace. They create technology out of necessity that others never imagine." He looked directly at Jai. "Your people have been fighting each other for centuries, haven't they?" G nodded. "War has been our constant teacher, a harsh one that we wished to leave behind. But it prepared us for this moment." Doc sighed heavily. "We have much to discuss, and much to learn about each other, it seems." "Yes," agreed J. "But first, justice for Mars. Then we can speak of peace." Admiral Wu walked across the observation deck, his long robe swishing softly against the polished floor. The military leader of the Zenthari forces stood tall as he faced Ambassador G and the human delegation. Behind them, through the massive viewport, the UES Thermopylae floated in space, surrounded by the remaining Haktari battle group. "Your vessel is impressive," Admiral Wu conceded, "but surely you don't believe it can defeat our entire fleet." The initial surprise gave you an advantage, but now we're prepared. Ambassador G smiled faintly. Admiral, before you dismiss us further, may I show you something? He activated a small device he carried. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing scenes that made the alien officials shift uncomfortably. This is human history, Jai explained. Not all of it, just the last 500 years. The images showed battles spanning centuries, soldiers in different uniforms fighting with increasingly deadly weapons, ships bombarding coastlines, aircraft dropping bombs, tanks rolling across battlefields. While your species were building the Concorde, we were fighting ourselves, G said quietly. Not something we're proud of, but it shaped us. It forced us to innovate constantly. Admiral Wu studied the images with growing concern. You've spent your entire history at war. Not entirely. We've had periods of peace, but conflict has been a constant pressure, pushing our technology forward. When you're outgunned, you find new ways to fight. G changed the display to show modern human military technology. The Thermopylae represents decades of development, specifically designed to counter technologically superior forces. It's actually quite middle of the road in our fleet. The alien officials exchanged worried glances. That can't be true, said Officer Rim, a Haktari tactical expert. Our scans showed your planet has limited shipbuilding capacity. Your scans showed what we wanted them to show, Jai replied simply. Most of our military production happens in dimensional pocket facilities, spaces slightly out of phase with normal reality. You literally cannot see them without knowing they're there. Admiral Wu's expression darkened. If what you're saying is true, you've been deliberately hiding your military capacity. Of course we have, G said. Wouldn't you, if you didn't know whether the aliens discovering your world were peaceful or hostile? Especially given that our first actual contact was an unprovoked attack. He turned to the viewport, where the Thermopylae remained motionless. Captain Hyun has agreed to a demonstration. With your permission, Admiral. Wu hesitated, then nodded curtly. Jai spoke into a small communicator. Captain, you may proceed with Demonstration Protocol 4. On the bridge of the Thermopylae, Captain Hyun received the message with a nod. Lieutenant Gill, activate Defensive Swarm and Tactical Eye. Non-lethal protocols only. Yes, Captain, Gill replied, typing commands into his console. Outside the ship, small ports opened along its hull. Hundreds of tiny objects emerge, each no larger than a human hand. They spread outward in a perfect formation, moving with impossible precision. Combat drones deployed, Gill reported. A is online and has tactical control. In the Concorde observation deck, the aliens watched with growing unease as the drone swarm surrounded the Thermopylae. What are those? Asked Rim. Autonomous combat units, Jai explained. Each one is AI-controlled and capable of independent action. They work together as a unified system. The remaining Haktari ships, still under Commander Jun's authority, had been watching the human vessel with weapons ready. Seeing the drone deployment, Jun apparently decided to strike first. Energy signatures detected, reported Gill on the Thermopylae. They're powering weapons. Let the eye handle it, Captain Hyun ordered calmly. The Haktari opened fire simultaneously, a massive barrage designed to overwhelm any defense. But before the energy beams could reach the Thermopylae, the drone swarm reacted. Some drones formed protective screens that absorbed the energy. Others moved with impossible speed toward the attacking ships. From the observation deck, Admiral Wu watched in shock as the tiny drones attached themselves to the Haktari vessel's weapon ports and engine exhausts. Within seconds, the entire Haktari fleet went dark, engines and weapons disabled without a single shot from the Thermopylae itself. Impressive, isn't it? G said quietly. Our combat AI predicted exactly how your ships would attack and neutralize them with minimal force. We could have destroyed them all, but that's not our way. This AI, Wu asked, his voice strained. How advanced is it? advanced enough to analyze any combat situation and develop countermeasures within seconds. It learns from every encounter. Officer Rim shook his head in disbelief. But such systems would require different thinking. G finished for him. Humans approach problems differently because our history forced us to. When you're always fighting someone stronger, you develop technologies to overcome that disadvantage. The hologram changed to show Earth's full defensive capabilities. Orbital platforms, lunar bases, fleet deployments across the solar system. The Thermopylae is a mid-class defensive vessel, Jai explained. We have larger ships, smaller ships, different types for different missions, all developed because, throughout our history, we've had to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Admiral Wu stared at the disabled Haktari fleet. And you kept all this hidden from our observers, wouldn't you? Jay asked simply. In the silence that followed, the implications became clear. The Concorde had severely underestimated humanity. What they had dismissed as a primitive species was in fact a galactic military power that had chosen restraint over revenge. Captain Hyun could have destroyed those ships at any time. Ji continued. Instead, she disabled them. No casualties. No destruction. That's the other thing our history taught us. The value of mercy after victory. 6 months passed since the confrontation between human and alien forces. The Galactic Concorde had changed forever. In the Grand Council chamber, delegates from 8 species now sat in the circular arrangement, the newest seat belonging to Earth. Representative Min took her place at the human delegation's table, her simple blue uniform standing out among the ornate garments of the other species. Today marked the formal conclusion of the peace agreements and reparations. The Council recognizes Commander Jun of the Haktari, announced Council Leader Dok. The disgraced commander walked slowly to the center of the chamber. His once proud posture was now bent with the weight of his actions. Behind him stood guards, both Haktari and human. Commander Jun, Dok continued, you have been found guilty of violating Concorde law by initiating unauthorized military action against the human Mars colony. The deaths of 312 civilians rest on your conscience. Jun kept his eyes downcast. I accept the judgment of the Council. Representative Min rose from her seat. The people of Earth have considered your case carefully. While many called for your execution, we believe justice is better served through restoration than revenge. She approached Jun, standing directly before him. Though smaller in stature, her presence seemed to fill the room. You will spend the next 20 years helping rebuild what you destroyed, Min said. You will work alongside the families of those who died, sharing their grief and their labor. Perhaps then you will understand the true cost of your actions. Jun looked up, surprise evident in his eyes. You would show mercy after what I did. Not mercy, Min corrected. Wisdom. Killing you would be easy, making you face the consequences of your actions every day. That is justice. The Council moved on to formalize the agreements between Earth and the Concorde. The Haktari would pay substantial reparations for the Mars attack. Earth would share certain defensive technologies with peaceful Concorde species while keeping offensive systems classified. We developed these technologies because we had to, Min explained to the Council. Our history is filled with conflict. We learned to survive against overwhelming odds. Outside the Council chamber, in the massive space station's docking bay, Captain Hyun walked alongside Admiral Wu, showing him the Thermopylae's exterior up close. The whole material is a nano-adaptive compound, she explained. It can absorb energy weapons by redistributing the heat across billions of microscopic channels. Wu studied this seemingly ordinary metal with newfound respect. Your people created remarkable defenses. Necessity drove our innovation, Hyun replied. Throughout our history, someone was always trying to kill someone else. We got very good at staying alive. Across the station, in a newly established academy, Lieutenant Gill instructed the first class of mixed-species military cadets. Human warfare evolved differently than yours, he told the attentive aliens. We learned to fight asymmetrically, to use our opponent's strength against them. When you're outgunned, you get creative or you die. A young Ellerin cadet raised her hand. But if humans are so advanced militarily, why didn't you conquer the Concord when you found us? Gil smiled. Because that's not who we want to be. We developed these capabilities for defense, not conquest. The best warrior is one who never needs to fight. News of human military capabilities spread quickly across the galaxy. Along the borders of Concord space, the predatory Vargos species, who had long conducted raids on outlying colonies, suddenly found reasons to maintain their distance. Their scout ships turned away at the first sign of joint Concord-human patrols. 1 year after first contact, the UES Thermopylae was decommissioned as a warship. It now orbited Earth as a museum and training facility, a symbol of both human ingenuity and the new alliance. On its observation deck, once filled with tactical displays and weapon controls, young aliens from across the Concord gathered to learn about their newest member species. Lieutenant Jun, once a weapons officer on the Thermopylae, now served as a guide for these diplomatic visitors. This ship's real power wasn't in its weapons, he told a group of wide-eyed alien youths. It was in what we built it to protect. Our homes, our families, our future. He led them to a new memorial wall, displaying images of the Mars colony before the attack. Children playing in low gravity. Scientists working on experiments. Ordinary people building a new life among the stars. We have an old Earth saying, Jun continued, speak softly and carry a big stick. It means prepare for the worst while working for the best. We developed weapons hoping we'd never need to use them. A young Hactari cadet looked up at him. Will humans ever truly trust us after what happened? Jun considered the question carefully. Trust is earned over time. But humans are remarkably adaptable. It's our greatest strength. We survived centuries of fighting each other. We learned to forgive former enemies and build something better together. He pointed out the viewport, where Earth shone blue and beautiful against the blackness of space. That world has seen more war than any planet in the Concord. But it also created art, music, literature, and eventually, peace among its people. Now we hope to help build that same peace among the stars. The young aliens gazed at the blue planet, seeing it with new understanding, not just as the home of a powerful military force, but as a world that had faced its darkest impulses and chosen a better path.